Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles of GMS that give us his truth and all his purity, and salutations to all you accomplishing this word. This is Luke chapter 21, verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. And as you're going to see in the post-production, you have this so-called UFO, a chariot of the Heavenly Father operated by his angels that was caught in space, traveling through our solar system. You know, it was caught by NASA. And, you know, basically when you look it up, the different comments on it, you know, people are baffled, but you also have people that's saying, you know, that it's nothing new. You know, this is not the first one that they caught, you know, trying to downplay it like this is not anything major, you know? Well, guess what, man? You know, yeah, it's not the first, but it won't be the last, all right? And the ones that you got to worry about is really Yahushua's chariot, man. When Yahushua returns with the fathership, because that's nothing, that's light. All of the UFO sightings that we see, those are light. That's a small inkling of the Lord's power, man, that he gave to his angels. All right? You're going to see the full force of the Lord when he returns on the fathership. When his son, Yahushua, returns on the fathership. Very soon, man. And this is what he's saying to watch out for before his return. All right? It says, and they shall fall by the edge. No, it's like it. Verse 25, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, which is going into all the different events in space, whether it be solar or lunar eclipse, whether it be blood moons, you know, worm moons and wolf moons, all kinds of different shit Esau come up with, you know, comets, asteroids, and UFO sightings, man. All right? Those are signs in the heavens, man. UFOs being seen right next to the sun, you know, going inside of the sun, coming out the other side. These are the type of things that we're seeing, man. All right? And it's baffling Esau's scientists, man. You know, the Lord said to the Edomites, well, where's your wise men? He would destroy the wise men of Teman, man. Your scientists. There is no answer for these sightings, man. You know, there is no, you know, they could say it's aliens, but they don't know. They're just speculating, you know. People, they be on the comments whenever you be having these Congress meetings about UFOs, you know, that get nowhere. But people be in the comments, they be talking about, I'm so tired of this. You know, why don't they tell us what they are? They know what they are, but they won't tell us. Well, that's because you can't handle the truth. You know, how does the United States government look like coming out and telling you that the UFOs are so-called black men, that they are angels sent here to deliver the ones that so-called white people have been oppressing all these centuries? Come on, man. You can't handle that. All right? The world can't handle it, man. To know that black men is the ones operating UFOs. All right? So, yeah, man. It says, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity. And that's what we see. These wars and rumors of wars. Israel and Iran going back and forth. Even though they got a ceasefire now, but it's going to be broken very soon. Israel's going to hit them back. Because one thing about America and Israel too is whenever they ask for a ceasefire, that's because they need to rearm. They need to regroup, you know, devise new strategy. All right? So that's what they're currently doing. And it says, the sea and the waves roaring, which is going into what? These earthquakes, tsunamis, right? It says, verse 26, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. That's right. So Men's hearts are going to fail them for fear. All right? For looking after those things which are coming on the earth. So heart attacks from seeing the wrath of the Most High, from seeing, the chaos, from seeing demons, man. All right? So it says, men's hearts filling them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. That's right. So powers of heaven shall be shaken, which is going into what? The nuclear destruction. The Lord said, I'm going to shake the heavens and the earth. That's going to be by the blast, the shock wave from the explosions. All right. It says, and then shall they see the Son of Men coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And what's that cloud? A UFO. All right. It's not an actual literal cloud that he's going to be riding upon. It's a chariot of the Heavenly Father. What you people call UFOs or spaceships. In the scriptures, they're known as clouds, as pillars of fire, all right, as the chariots of our salvation, the chariots of Israel, what else? Flying roll. Those are all code names for UFOs in the scriptures, man. Real quick, let's go to Revelation. Chapter 1, verse 7, it says, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. The clouds is the spaceships. Every eye is going to see him from every hemisphere. The northern and southern hemisphere, from east to west. All right. The whole earth is going to see him because his ship is going to be bigger than the whole earth. So every time zone will be able to see him. It says, and they also which pierced him, which proves reincarnation. The ones that pierced him 2,000 years ago, they're back here in the flesh. It says, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so Amen. That's right. So Israelites, that's who this is going into. All right. Why are they going to mourn? Because they crucified the Lord. The Jews back then that put him on the cross, that was the so-called blacks. West Indians and Haitians, man. All right. To see how much they're in these churches, they claim to love the Lord, they love Jesus. And then, for him to return and for them to find out he's a so-called black man and they're the ones that crucified him. And they're going to know he means vengeance, man. So they're going to mourn. All right. So that proves he's not coming for peace. So it says Psalms 110. Matter of fact, this is good too, but it's not the one I'm looking for. This is Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 13. It says, behold, he shall come up as clouds, and his chariot shall be as a whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles. Woe unto us, for we are spoiled. That's right. So this is going into, back then, the king of Babylon. All right. But the time that we're in, Yahweh Shai, he represents the king that's going to come and spoil. That's going to come with his chariots as a whirlwind. And that are swifter than eagles, man. The scriptures also describe the chariots as eagles and birds. All right. So Yahweh Shai is coming to destroy 2/3 of his own people. Okay, 104. This is Psalms chapter 104, verse 3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. So this is all going into the spaceships, all right? Those are the chambers. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters. The waters is space. They're all over space. Any part of the universe you can't even think of, but that exists, the angels have visited that. All right? It says, who walketh upon, it says, who maketh the clouds his chariot. Who maketh the clouds his chariot. And if you look, there's plenty videos and pictures of so-called UFOs, the chariots, actually cloaking themselves as clouds. Just look up UFO cloud and you'll see all the pictures and videos over the years. So he makes the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. And how does he do that? With the chariots. They hover, they cruise. And sometimes there's actually videos that I've seen of chariots that look like they're actually taking footsteps. Right, left, right, left, right, left, just going across the sky, man. All right. It says, who maketh his angels spirits, his ministers a flaming fire. So the angels, the beings in those ships are pure fire. They're the angels of the Most High. That's why they could withstand those G-forces. That's why they could withstand the elements of space. That's why they don't deteriorate. That's why they could go, faster than the speed of light and stop at the drop of a dime. Dematerialize, materialize, going across the galaxy. This is why they can do that, because they're not flesh and bones. They're not aliens and beings from other planets. They're angels, interdimensional beings. That's what the white man is saying in Congress, that those are not aliens from other planets. Those are interdimensional beings. That's what they're saying. So in other words, that means angels. They said it's either demons or angels, but they believe that those are angels. That's what they said. So the so-called white men, the powers that be, the elites, they know what we're saying is the truth. All right? And they're shook right now, man. This is the reason that they're rushing their New World Order, is because those ships, they're here in vast numbers, man. Every day they're being seen all over the earth, but mainly here in America. So they know their time is short. So they're rushing this New World Order because they know they're going to come and take them down and save us from their agenda, man. All right? So that's it on that. Let's get, what is it, Isaiah? Is it 31 or 30? Okay, this is Isaiah chapter 31, verse 3. Now the Egyptians are men and not God. The Egyptians represents the so-called white man. They're our oppressors. America is known as spiritual Egypt, spiritual Sodom in Egypt in Revelation 11. So the Egyptians, the so-called white man, he's a man and not God, right? So they're flesh and blood, man, dust and ashes. Whereas the angels, they're gods, powers. That's what God means, power. So the angels, the UFOs, those beings, they're gods, man. All right? God's angels, judges. That's what it means, man. Powers. It says, and their horses flesh and not spirit. Their horses represents their technology, their vehicles, their fighter jets, the B-2 stealth bombers, the aircraft carriers, their tanks. That's all carnal technology. It's all flesh and not spirit. The UFOs, They're not physical technology. It wasn't something that was built in a factory. Putting the pieces together, getting this piece, trying to get this fuel. No, man. They're pure spirit. The Most High made the chariots with the angels, man. All right? They're connected to the spirits of the angels. So their horses, their technology, their vehicles are flesh and not spirit. The UFOs, they're pure spirit, pure energy, man. Which is why they can do what they do. It says, when the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they all shall fail together. That's right. So anybody that's hand in hand with the so-called white man is going to fall with him. It says, for thus have the Lord spoken unto me, like as the lion and the young lion roaring on his prey, when a multitude of shepherds is called forth against him, he will not be afraid of their voice, nor abase himself for the noise of them. So shall the Lord of hosts come down to fight for Mount Zion and for the hill thereof. That's right. So Yahweh Shai, he's coming to fight like a lion for his people. And the shepherd represents the so-called white man. He's the one that has us in bondage, in captivity. He's the one that the Most High has put in charge over us. All right? And the rest of those nations. So they represent the shepherds. So it says he would not be afraid of their voice, nor abase himself for the noise of them. So Yahweh Shai, when he's coming back, he's not going to be afraid of Esau's armies, the nation's militaries, their space force, coming in droves, trying to take him down, coming against the chariot in the heavenly hosts, mounting up, about to shoot their missiles. The Lord is not going to be afraid, man. It says, so shall the Lord of hosts come down and fight for Mount Zion and for the hill thereof. That's right. So it says, as birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also he will deliver it, and passing over he will preserve it, as birds flying. There you go. So they're also described as birds. Because what do birds do? They fly. All right? And they can fly in any direction, just like with the chariots, man. And they fly in formation as well. So the UFOs, they're in order, man. They'll do different shapes in the sky, different, different different looks, different sizes, different colors. All right. And Jerusalem represents a people, man. The elect. It says, defending also he will deliver it, and passing over he will preserve it. So the Lord is going to pass over us like he did in Egypt, which shows you that he's going to bring death to this new Egypt. And the death angel back then in ancient Egypt was Yahweh Shai. So he's the same one coming back, coming to bring us deliverance again, man. All right. Okay, so that's it on that. What was the last one I wanted to get? Oh yeah, Isaiah 66. This is Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15. It says, for behold, the Lord Yahweh Shai will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. So that's what he's coming to do. That's how he's coming to fight for Jerusalem, man. With those ships. With fire, man. And that's literal. Bringing actual fire. The scriptures talk about the first death being by water, and the second death is going to be by fire. All right? So that fire is going to be the missiles, as well as the concentrated heat, the laser beams coming from those ships. So it says, with his chariots like a whirlwind. Yeah, those saucers, they spin. clockwise, counterclockwise, and both. And they also represent destruction. Like it says in, I think it's Zechariah 5, where Zechariah saw a UFO, and he described it. He said he see a flying roll. And then the Lord said, this is the curse that goes over the face of the earth. And those that steal are going to be cut off. And he's going to enter into the house of the thief and remain in it. The house of the thief is America, man. The so-called white man, he's the thief. He stole this land from the so-called Native Americans, which are the tribe of Gad of the nation of Israel. He stole the so-called Negroes, which are the real Jews. Stole us from West Africa. Right? So everything this man has, he stole, man. So this is why a majority of UFO sightings are here in America. Why? Because this is the house of the thief. So it says, for behold, the Lord will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. That's right. So by fire and by his sword, so the laser beams as well as the ICBMs, the Lord is going to judge all flesh. And the slain of the Lord shall be many. Billions and billions of people when the Lord returns. So where's this God of love that these churches been talking about, man? Right? So it says, they that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh and the abomination, and the mouth shall be consumed together, saith the Lord. So that cuts this whole notion of you could eat whatever you want to eat because the Most High cleanses everything. Right there it says when the Lord returns, if you're found eating swine's flesh, pork, right? Your what they call it, the chicharron in Spanish, your shrimps, your lobsters, your different abominable foods that you're eating. If you're found eating those when the Lord returns, you're going to be consumed by the fire. You're going to get flooded like them people in the time of Noah. All right? So, yeah, that's pretty much it on that. So with that, I'm going to close out and give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yashah, Ba'ashem HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles of GMS that give us this truth. And salutations to all you Akim Bishop this word.